of a trade union is, well, you know, when's the next strike?
It's hard to get people to join trade unions, although maybe it's easier now, I don't know, but it certainly has been hard. I mean, been a massive drop-off in trade unionism over the years.
There has. I think it's down to about 7 million members of a trade union now affiliated to the TUC. But UNISON's done well. That figure I referred to earlier, 200,000 members in the Northwest region, that meant because of natural wastage or national turnover or all the kind of things that happen, we used to lose 10% of the members a year. So every year for the last 9 years, I had to recruit 20,000 new members
Just
in the Northwest to stand still. And last year we recruited 24,000. So, you know, that says a lot about the union and its place in society, that we managed to hit that 20,000 every year to maintain the 200,000, and we did better last year.
When you say I recruited, obviously you didn't go around to everybody.
Yeah.
How do you recruit? Is it just a question of those unelected branch officials showing what the union can do for people?
You're right. I doubt whether I personally recruited more than about 5 people in the whole of 2010, and it is done in the branches. People can join online now, and there's a big push in the union to keep reminding people how many people joined online in the last month, and it's a significant number. I would think, you know, perhaps a quarter to a third of the members now join online, but that doesn't mean they're not joining because they haven't seen an example of a good local official or they've heard something they like about the union. You know, people don't just log on and join a union. They join because maybe they like what we're saying about the NHS, or they've seen a bit of a success in a local area. It is difficult to get people to join, but I genuinely believe they should. And the 71% who are women is an increasing number. More and more women are joining trade unions.
It's a strange situation. I actually belong to 2 unions because of the way I've worked through, and that comes from my parents probably, that you always stood together. But it frustrates me sometimes, and it must you, when you're doing something as a union member and you're gaining something for your own. Now, it might not be pay, but you're gaining something for your members. And those non-members, who often outweigh you in numbers perhaps, are gaining the advantage without having taken part in the process.
Yeah, that was always something that really irked me. In my early days of being a member of a trade union, there was something called a closed shop.
Yeah.
So in certain employment places, you had to be a member of a trade union. Now, I wouldn't wish for a return to that, but it is annoying when those people who constantly criticise the union are very happy to take the annual increase or the improved conditions. Yeah, it is annoying.
Looking back over the years that you've been involved everywhere, are there particular highlights or particular successes that you remember with fondness?
Yeah, I think I'm proud of our stance on the NHS, the fact that we've consistently defended it as a concept. I do believe it's the greatest achievement of any post-war government, of any, you know, Labour, Lib Dem, whatever. It was and is a great achievement, and it's something to be so proud of. I'm immensely proud of the NHS, and I think, you know, at times we've felt like we're the only defenders of the NHS. I think on pensions, you know, over the last 18 months we've run a tremendous campaign to convince people that everyone deserves a good pension, a fair pension. And we've had a lot of criticism from people in the private sector that we're defending something that's indefensible, that, you know, why should they get a good pension in the public sector when we don't in the private sector? And I always remember something an American trade unionist said to me. She said, I can't understand why the private sector workers in the UK are always going on about public sector pensions. She said, in the States, we don't say why you, we say me too. You know, why can't they see that it's something they should be getting, you know? And so, yeah, I'm proud of pension stuff. And also, you know, what an opportunity working for the trade union gave me. You know, I went to places, I've been to Zimbabwe, Palestine, you know, lots of different places in Europe. Met fantastic people. You know, Rodney Bickerstaff, the ex-General Secretary of UNISON, obviously, Dave Prentice, the current General Secretary, both leading lights in the trade union movement, both of them men of principle who care about what they do. And then looking back, with this recent release of the Cabinet Papers, I was reminded of what a great person Margaret Simey was on Liverpool City Council, who I was fortunate enough to meet on a couple of occasions. I've met and worked with Doreen Lawrence, Stephen Lawrence's mum, in some of the work we've done to support the Stephen Lawrence Foundation, and found her to be an inspirational woman, great strength. And we've always supported the South African people, you know, throughout the ANC, and it's 100 years of the ANC this week. And we met someone some years ago now who was arrested with Nelson Mandela, who was put on trial with him at the Rivonia trial, famous trial. and fully expected the death sentence. Dennis Goldberg, his name is, fully expected the death sentence, and was relieved to be given life imprisonment. And life imprisonment in South Africa in them days meant life imprisonment. Anyway, he served 28 years, but the thing about Dennis is he was white. So Dennis didn't serve it in Robben Island, and I'm not suggesting that the people who served it in Robben Island had it easy, but Dennis, to be a white man in a white prison in South Africa, accused of treason, it's hard to imagine what he went through. And yet he still fights for the people of South Africa. He runs an organisation called Community Heart, which supports victims of abuse in South Africa. You know, he's still now at it in his late 70s, working for the people of South Africa. And I'd like to think, you know, when you think someone who did 28 years, you'd have thought there'd have been a lot of hate in his heart.
Yeah.
But he's still out there, still fighting for what he believes in. And it's people like that, you know, where would you, in what other job would you meet people like that? Perhaps yours, Roger, but not many jobs would you meet and work with people of such courage and commitment. So, yeah, met a lot of good people. So for me, it has been a privilege.
Except it's not really ended, has it? I mean, you're a young man, relatively, nowadays. You say you've retired, you do look more relaxed, and your time is more your own. But what are your plans for the future?
Well, I'm currently on the Liverpool Fairness Commission, which was set up by the council to report back to them on how we can improve fairness in general in the city. We're hoping to report in March back to the council on what we believe would make that difference. It's chaired by Claire Dove from Blackburn House, you know, and there are people like Gideon Benthoven on the commission, and we're looking to try and make some pretty straightforward recommendations about fairness. I'm still on that. I'm on the panel to be a councillor. Obviously, you've got to be selected, but I'd like to serve on Liverpool City Council. And I say serve because, again, it would be a privilege to be on a council, on the council of the city of your birth. You know, it's not something to be taken lightly. It's a big responsibility. And I think, you know, the council's doing a great job at the moment in trying to hold the city together in difficult times.
And UNISON, you've not left UNISON?
No, I had 4 or 5 leaving dues, but at one of them in London, Dave Prentice presented me with honorary life membership.
Dave Prentice is the General
Secretary, yeah, presented me with honorary life membership of the union, which isn't given lightly, and it was an honour to receive it. And he's asked me to do bits and pieces for the union, so I'm still going to stay involved with UNISON and help them in any way I can.
So the future's actually pretty bright for you. You're starting a new career in a sense as well.
Yeah, I think the family would go mad if they thought I was going to be sitting around looking for gardening jobs, or they want me out there.
Frank Hont, concluding this edition of the Phillips Hour.